So growing up, there was a video game magazine that I absolutely loved. I mean, there was a bunch of them. Die Hard Game Fan, Nintendo Power, Tips and Tricks. But one of them that I absolutely loved, probably the first one besides Nintendo Power, was a magazine called Electronic Gaming Monthly. And I used to read the issues. I had several subscriptions. Throughout the years, I had a bunch of subscriptions to that magazine. And there would be issues that were literally hundreds of pages long. And I just idolized that magazine. And one day I decided that I was going to send them part of a song that I was working on. Just a cool little letter sharing, something that I was working on, sharing some joy, sharing my joy and my love for gaming. And I thought that was real cool. I thought of all people, these people would appreciate it. So I sent them a letter because I can't remember if it was a letter or an email, but I sent it to them and I forgot all about it. So then one day, I don't know, months later, I'm walking around my local grocery store, um, and I'm looking at the magazine aisle like I frequently did back then. I was looking at, would go around looking at the different video game magazines and try to figure out what magazines to buy and just look and see what the new news is, because this was before you could just get online and just find out all kinds of info on just whatever. This is before live streams. This is before directs. This is before all this cool stuff that we have nowadays. This is before video game information. You could just get it at the speed of light. Back then we relied on these video game magazines. So I picked up the new issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly, and I'm looking at it like I did a lot of times back then. I don't think I had money that day because I don't remember buying that issue, but a lot of times back then I would go to the grocery store and I would just kind of sit down and thumb through the magazine, and sometimes I would buy it if I had the money. So I read through the section where they answer the letters from the fans, and I noticed something familiar. I noticed that one of the letters looked familiar, and it literally took a second to dawn on me that what I read was what I had written to them. And it was just almost just kind of like I was in a state where I wasn't really believing what was happening. It seemed kind of surreal because I didn't believe that was actually going on. And when I realized it, I just like, holy shit, like something that I wrote actually got published by a magazine that I love or loved. And it was part of a verse that I had written on a song about classic gaming. Well, that bastard motherfucker took every opportunity to make fun of me and say that, oh, it's official. Video game references in songs are now dead. And the thing that upset me the most is they misquoted my song on purpose. Because I went back and I looked at it, and it was part of it where I said the Konami code in the song. And they basically made it out like I didn't know the Konami code. And this, if you ever want to look, it's Justin Drysdale. The issue is Soul Calibur 4. It's either 3 or 4. It was a long time ago. I mean, I'm mostly over it now, but this was just a really, really shitty thing that happened to me. That night, I basically drank a lot and smoked a lot of weed and just got really, really high and really, really drunk because I was completely pissed off and completely felt betrayed as to how these people that I idolized could just make such a mockery of something that I had decided to share with them out of my admiration for them and their magazine. It's a really shitty thing to do, but I was published in Electronic Gaming Monthly, just not the response that I wanted. And it's unfortunate that happened, but I mean, whatever. I can look at it that way. Or I could look at it like I was published in Electronic Gaming Monthly. Not everyone's been published. Even though it was just for them to make fun of me, oh well. That magazine's not even around anymore. It's just a shame. It's a real shame that the people who wrote the magazine turned into such fucking pieces of shit. Because you should know that if you have a fucking magazine and so many people just love you and so many people admire you, you should never take that for granted.